Over the last 5 to 6 years, there has been so much of buzz about AI.
AI that we are building today is a narrow AI, which means it cannot replace doctors, but whereas it can assist doctors.
Agentic AI can do a lot of complex tasks, plan, act, and make decisions, which generative AI cannot.
The conversation is focused on agentic AI, but within the parlance of healthcare and life sciences. So in this industry, what do you think are the most compelling use cases?
If I take the last 10 partners or customers discussion that we have had, at least in 7 of the meetings, we have had serious discussions about agentic AI. Let me tell you something. We are today so lucky that we are the only set of people who are going to build digital assistant, and we are also going to use digital assistant.
Hi everyone, what is happening? Welcome to Conversations with Vistas, powered by Happiest Minds. My name is Arsalaan Kashif, and on this very first episode, we will be talking about the incredible potential of agentic AI and its application in the world of healthcare and life sciences. And to do just that, I have 2 important guests with me. We've got Mythili Kandula, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Happiest Health. And of course, we've got our very own Srinivas, Iyengar, who heads our healthcare and life sciences business. So to kick things off, Mythili, let me start with you. Over the last 5 to 6 years, there has been so much of buzz about AI as a technology, as a game changer. And over the last couple of years, especially with the introduction of generative AI and platforms like ChatGPT and Genai becoming part of the mainstream conversation, things have really reached a fever pitch. And just as we were dealing with that, now comes along agentic AI, and people are excited about the potential to deal with complex, intricate workflows and to enable intelligent and automated decision making. So can we kind of just start the conversation off by you setting the table in terms of understanding the core differences between Gen AI and agentic AI?
Sure. Generative AI is like more, it creates the data. It could be text, images. It does what you already train. Whereas agentic AI is like a fully autonomous system where it can independently process things over extended periods with using various tools, large language models, without any human intervention. Agentic AI can do a lot of complex tasks, unlike predefined in a well-organized way. It can plan, act, and make decisions, which generative AI cannot.
Got it. So what you're saying essentially is that Gen AI can enable convenience, whereas agentic AI is building on top of that convenience and also actualizing capability, which is very close to a human.
Exactly. In fact, generative AI, that tool can be used for agentic AI also.
Got it. So thank you so much for that, Srini. Let me bring this over to you, right? Because this conversation is focused on agentic AI, but within the parlance of healthcare and life sciences. So in this industry, what do you think are the most compelling use cases? If you can break it down into 2 areas, one, the low-hanging fruit, the immediate impact, and another category where the impact is high, this is likely to take some time.
Sure. Yeah, just to set the context, Aslan, in the last couple of months, if I take the last 10 partners or customers discussion that we have had, at least in 7 of the meetings, we have had serious discussions about agentic AI. And out of 10 customers or partners that we're talking to, at least 3 of them or 4 of them, they've already started discussing use case with us. And at least 2 of them, they've started thinking of building the technology layer that is required for them to implement the agentic AI. AI that we are building today is a narrow AI, which means it cannot replace doctors, but whereas it can assist doctors, be it diagnosis or be it treatment. So we started building those use cases. I'll give you one very funny incident that happened last week. I was trying to reach my old friend. When I dialed his cell phone, a digital assistant talked to me. It said, "Hey, Srinivas, this XYZ person is not available. Do you want to leave a message to him?" I left a message, and then it said, "Would you like him to call you back at any specific time?" Then I told digital assistant, "Yes, tomorrow 5 o'clock would be fine." After a few minutes, I also got a message from digital assistant that it has set up a meeting with him tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I was amazed at the way the digital assistant was built. Let me tell you something. We are today so lucky that we are the only set of people who are going to build digital assistant, and we are also going to use digital assistant. In near future, digital assistants will be available in abundance for every scenario. I'll give you an example. If a person gets his blood test report, There are 100 line items there. 3 or 4 of them are bolded. The first thing that they do today is open Google, put the things that are in bold and check what it is. For example, if your HbA1c is 5.9, he will go to the Google and check what it means. Think about a scenario where there's a digital assistant which pops up and says, hey, we've got your lab report. Do you want me to explain it for you? And you say yes. Then it says your HbA1c is 5.9, which is above normal. But by the by, 3 months ago, your HbA1c is 6.1, but today is 5.9. That means you're doing better. So you don't need to go and meet a doctor, but rather I recommend you to send this information to the doctor. All you have to say is, yes, please go ahead and share it with my doctor, and it does the work for you. This has happened for 2 reasons. One, we have large language models today. We have cloud, internet, and we have natural language processing. And both LLMs and natural language processing has reached a certain level of maturity. This is one use case. The other use case that I'm talking about is also going to be extremely important. According to me, small language models are going to be very, very crucial for AI and healthcare. A small language models are those small programs which can sit on your glasses, which can sit on your mobile phones, which can sit on your wearables, and it can sit on the medical devices. And it is portable, it is accessible, it is not requiring cloud, it is not requiring internet. Think about 2 scenarios. One, in an operation theater, you don't use cloud and internet, but you have a device which is intelligent, which has the small language model, and it can work independently by itself and make decisions. Second one, in rural health scenario. According to me, for next 5 years, digital assistants are going to go B2C. There'll be a lot of applications that are built, which will be in conversation with people. Second one, digital assistants will be there in medical devices as an independent device, which can interact with doctors, be it in operation theater or in a rural health scenario. This is a short-term impact area. Long-term, 5 years from now, I'm going to bring in quantum chips. So today we are at the time where they're researching if quantum chips can be put on smaller devices. And I'm pretty sure we'll have this 3 to 4, 5 years from now. When quantum chips are available on devices, it will have a huge impact on healthcare in drug discovery and other very important areas of health.
Thanks, Srini. That's actually a very detailed analysis of it. But what I picked up from that was you're clearly talking about the enterprise use case, which is very compelling. And that's what we naturally think about when we think of agentic AI. But you also talked about the impact on individual users as such. And that's something that I want to double click with you on. What do you think are the applications from an individual user standpoint? A layman out there, how is it going to improve or benefit his or her experience in life? If you could throw some light on that, that would be great.
Sure. Thanks, Asla. So it's not only for enterprise solutions like how Srinivas said, it is even for anybody for that matter. He talked about personal assistants, right? It is not for just enterprises. It is for the individuals. So it can be any process automation, right? It can be any robotics. All these are not just for enterprises. Yes, it can be definitely used for enterprises, but it is for anybody. So rather than thinking that it is for replacing the humans or anything, we should think that it's like 50% of everybody could be the agents that could help, instead of saying like, is it 100% of set population, right? It's a different game.
Yeah.
So that is what I think, assistance definitely is going to be there, and many types and many ways of human being.
Well, that's very on point. I think there is a widely held belief that very soon there will be more agents in the world than there will be human beings. And I think they're all there at our disposal to benefit our lives in a way. But Srini, let me bring you back into this, right? When we're specifically talking about the healthcare industry, as we've often discussed, it is an industry that has been traditionally a bit cautious in terms of adopting new technologies. So what do you think are the key considerations and challenges that one must keep in mind when using agentic AI in healthcare?
Sure. So there are a few considerations that have been there since last 10 years, like bias, scalability. I'm not going to talk about all those things. 2 points that I'm going to bring it for discussion. One, digital assistants, agentic AI is going to be there. And Gen Alpha is not going to be working on applications to either retrieve the data or to even discuss with the healthcare organizations. They'll be relying more on digital assistants. So now the question is, how is digital assistants going to integrate with SaaS-based systems. There are people who are saying that SaaS will be dead when we talk about agentic AI as a service. But SaaS is surely going to be there for next few more years. The question is, how are they going to integrate with agents? That's a tricky part that industry needs to figure out. And more we use agentic AI, there'll be less dependency on SaaS applications, I would say. It's a very tricky part, and interoperability is going to be a big challenge for us. So these are two things. The third one is regulatory compliance. Even though the technology industry is ready to build agentic AI as a service, I do not think our governments have enough regulations that can manage building agentic AI. So that is also going to be another important area of focus.
Thank you for that perspective from the industry. And let's just wrap it up by getting your insights. If you have any points of view about what are the areas in which agentic AI is not the right solution.
Good question, Stan. So he talked a lot about, like where a lot of agents are going to be there. And we are the first generation where we are building those agents, right?
Yeah.
I tell my team to first simplify the solution for a given problem. That's what we do, right? But agentic AI is something which should be used if it is really a complex task. If you have the predictability and consistency over a predefined path, just use generative AI. You don't need to build a lot of agents for it. But if you need it to be into a complex task where you are need flexibility and you need decision making, model driven path, then use agentic AI. So most of the common tasks, you can still use large language models and do a simplified generative AI. Only for really, if it is flexibility and you wanted to trade off with task performance and all that, then you can go for agentic AI.
Got it.
So most of the common scenarios, you can still use generative AI.
Got it. So the takeaway is use horses for courses and don't force fit it. That's the word from the experts. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you found this conversation to be interesting. If you did, please pass it along. And if this is your first time around, then hit that subscribe button and also make sure to ring the bell icon to stay up to date with all of the latest developments at Happiest Minds. Until next time, this is Arsalaan Kashif. Thank you so much for watching.